All right, John, we're going to take a look at this week's internet weather. So the top 10 most probed ports as of March 9th, which is yesterday. Interestingly, we have a major change in the most probed ports. Port 443 TCP, which is HTTPS, has jumped up 8 spots from number 9. So we'll be taking a close look at that one for sure. But otherwise, not a whole lot of movement this week. Looks like everything else is sort of just bumped down either one slot or two. 23 TCP is Telnet, that's in second place. 80 ICMP is Ping in third. 1433 is MS SQL Server in fourth. 445 is SMB Server in fifth. And 80 TCP is just plain old web at sixth place, followed by 22 TCP, which is SSH. 3389 is Remote Desktop Protocol in eighth place. Ninth place is 81 TCP, which is an alternate web port we see a lot with IoT stuff. And 5555 is, I was hoping you'd be able to fill it in, John, but
I wish I knew. It's like just a random port, but I don't, because I don't know.
5555 is Android Debug Bridge. So it's not just a thing you can plug into your laptop. You know, kind of in the vein of what we were talking about with the previous story. There is an internet port for it, so some people do leave it open. Why? I don't know.
Yeah, I think that now that you say that, I think that there is a particular OEM, not in the United States, but overseas, that was guilty of doing that a lot.
And I've heard that people will jailbreak certain Android devices, like the Fire TV sticks and things like that, and leave that port open as part of the process of breaking into that, and never close it again. So anyway, moving on to the most sources probing. Again, not too many changes this week. Not a bunch of new faces on the list either. So the only differences we're seeing here is 8080 TCP in fifth place. It was not on the previous list. That's another web port. And 00 ICMP is Echo Reply, whereas 80 ICMP is Echo Request. So we'll move on now to the most interesting character on the list today. Port 443 TCP, HTTPS, in the last day or two has started to really kick up, going from somewhere around a couple, let's say the peak right now is 2 times 10 to the 9th power. So out of nowhere, there's a whole bunch more traffic for this port, which honestly by itself usually gets a lot of attention. I mean, there's plenty of services running on 443 that are worth scanning for. So there's about 200 different source IPs behind this, primarily out of a couple different AS numbers in Iraq. What they're searching for, I don't know. We don't really have any traffic to any of the hosts that we would normally check on. Like, that's the thing about HTTPS. Like, even if you had that traffic from a side view, you'd never know what it's trying to do. You'd have to be the server to understand what the request is. So what's up, right? What is this?
Now, I saw targets unknown. That's the question. Is there a particular target or targeted component, that they're looking at?
So I fully expect that we'll see other people noticing this in the next day or so. Might have some better vantage point to it and understand it. But this is kind of a big deal. The only other port that I thought was kind of interesting this week, we did have a spike on a 9530 TCP, and you can see that on the far right of the chart. This is not the start of scanning for it. In fact, this actually kicked up back in February, mostly because somebody on Haber.com posted about a backdoor that Xiongmai left in their IoT devices on this particular port. And you can kind of see that the thing was posted on February 4th. We saw the first major spikes on the 5th, and since then it's been fairly busy. The sources as of the spike that we had the other day were Vietnam and Taiwan. But I fully expect that this is the sort of thing that'll just keep attracting the attention of people trying to build out IoT botnets for forever, basically, or until Xiongmai manages to get all these things patched. And my expectation is, because it's an IoT device, there will always be some of them out there in the world that are never going to get patched.
I think Xiongmai, if I remember right, do a lot of video cameras.
That is correct. They do webcams, internet connected webcams. But that's it. It's a short internet weather this week. So thank you for going on this journey with me. This week's internet weather had one very notable port, 443, which you kind of think of as a regular HTTPS port. doesn't seem to make waves all that often, and suddenly it's shot up to the top of the list in terms of scan flows. So I'd love to know why people are looking for this port. I'm not aware of any, groundbreaking vulnerabilities there. I'd like to see if anybody else has any more information about it.